After finding out that the Acolyte is no more, and oh, by the way, Boba Fett is being shown the door, it turns out that Lucasfilm might not have much going forward. So we're beginning to wonder what's going on with Kathleen Kennedy, and is Disney preparing to clear the Star Wars deck? Hello, folks. Welcome back to the place that has the best coverage of entertainment and keeps you ahead of the culture curve. At least that's what we hope to do. That's what we aspire to do. And if you believe it's true, you might consider becoming a subscriber. Also, like this video as we get underway. And let's just say that Star Wars is, well, it's had better days. Perhaps under George Lucas, definitely not under Disney. And we are now looking at a dismal situation in which there may not be much left for Kathleen Kennedy and her Lucasfilm cohorts to produce for would-be moviegoers, would-be Disney Plus subscribers. And maybe that's just the sort of thing that Disney needs to restore, to salvage, to help Star Wars become a survivor of the years of the era of Kathleen Kennedy. Folks, we're going to bring on the panel today and tell you just how little is on the way out of Lucasfilm and why that may portend a future where we can begin to see healing in a galaxy far, far away. We had a topic that came up before the show started, and that was that Lorne had connected some dots that I had not yet. And Lorne, why don't you share with the audience your thoughts on this not being the only thing that's been announced canceled, and what this might mean in the broader sense of Star Wars.
Muted.
Lorne, you have followed the pattern of Nick.
Yeah, sure did. They came out and announced that Tamira Morrison was not going to be appearing in The Mandalorian and Grogu. And he also let slip that, to his knowledge, they're not working on the Book of Boba Fett Season 2, which is not a huge surprise. We probably would have heard about that long before now. But when you take into account the fact that they've announced that The Acolyte Season 2 is not going to be going forward, there really hasn't been a lot of press for Skeleton Crew yet. There's been the teaser reveal that they had here. They also didn't talk about the Rey movie at D23. And it's leading me to wonder if they're beginning to clear their production decks. I think that they do know that they're in some real deep trouble. And my theory up to this point has been they were just going to let Star Wars run. I think they were just going to let it bury itself while they tried to rescue Marvel. Now I'm not sure. I'm wondering if they're starting to question, okay, what are we going to do going forward because this can't continue? And I think the thing that I would be watching, maybe, is what's on the publication schedule for their novel division. I know that High Republic has some novels that are still scheduled to go out into next year. I know that they do have a tie-in novel that was going to be following some of the characters from The Acolyte. But I'd be interested to see if they announce anything past that point, because I think they're going to have to start winding some of this stuff down to try and make space to come up with some new ideas.
I think they're already
winding. So we've got
High Republic. I know it's like significantly shrunk from when they first rolled it out, so I think they're probably wrapping that up already.
So we heard last year, I heard last year that High Republic was going to be wound down and that this was going to be the final phase.
I want to add something before we get into the discussion, which is that I'm not trying to intimate here that Kathleen Kennedy is going away. That's not the point that I'm trying to get at. I am trying to say I think they may be rethinking their direction because it may have finally sunk in that if we already know the end point, nothing else matters, and they have to figure out a way to address that.
Here's what I'm thinking in all of this, Lauren, and I think you make a very good point. I think the Tamira Morrison news and the news of this not getting renewed, both of those things becoming very public at this moment, makes me wonder if Kathleen Kennedy has completely lost the ability to greenlight shows.
Derek, after we get through Skeleton Crew, we've got the Mandalorian movie. We have Andor Season 2, which if Andor Season 1 didn't track very well on ratings, what will it do? What is new? What is it they're actually working on that's new that's going to come out? Or do you think we are clearing the deck?
I really do think that Lucasfilm is rethinking right now what's coming up. So like I said earlier, if Skeleton Crew, I'm not saying it's going to be great Star Wars, but if it can be fun, if it can be a fun addition to the Star Wars universe. All right, it's something that's fun. It's family friendly. I go right to one of the directors that directed a few episodes. I'm not sure how many episodes, but he directed at least one episode of the Skeleton Crew, and that's the guy that directed Twisters, who famously came out on Twisters and said, I believe that storytelling should be no messaging. I'm not putting any climate change nonsense in Twisters. It's just about story. It's about entertaining your crowd. He famously came out and said that. So he's one of the directors, along with the directors from Everything Everywhere All at Once. All right, that's another group of guys that are directing this, along with John Watts, along with Bryce Dallas Howard. All right, so 4 of the directors are people that I trust in Skeleton Crew. So I'm hoping that it's going to just be fun family entertainment. All right. No wokeness, no nonsense, just fun, enjoyed family. You can sit your kids down in front of a Disney Plus show for once and not be scared. You know, that's what I'm hoping for. So that's the first part. The second part is maybe we get a good, an amazing end to Andor with Andor season 2. All right. With that storyline. And we get just an amazing, thrilling, like we did in my opinion, you know, and not everybody shares my opinion, but in my opinion, Andor season 1 was great. And if we can get a great follow-up to that, we have 2 series in a row. Before we get to any more of these movies that are coming out, we get 2 series in a row that are wins. This is a 3rd win, in my opinion. All right, getting rid of the Acolyte is another win for the Star Wars fan base. Maybe crossing our fingers, we can get Kathleen Kennedy out the door, and that could be just win, 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 win. Maybe, possibly, we could start feeling good about Star Wars again. And I think clearing the deck right now is very important. I honestly feel like Star Wars is reached that point where it can go lower. You know, the Acolyte is as low as you could possibly get with this franchise. So, Derek, so you got to start turning things around. Go ahead, Pro. I'm sorry.
Well, you said that you enjoyed Andor, and I know that Lauren also enjoyed Andor. So here's my question to you. How could Disney possibly get back fans who have sat through the suck of Ahsoka and the Acolyte? What could they do to convince them to tune in for Andor, given the first season failed? What would be your strategy?
Again, I think a lot of people did pick up on Andor after the fact, not during its initial run, but after the fact. You know, I saw a lot of people like Red Letter Media covered the Acolyte, and they said, man, this thing is great. You know, like they covered the Acolyte. So a lot of YouTubers and a lot of, you know, pundits started to cover the Acolyte well after the fact, and it's picked up a little momentum. So I think coming into season 2, I think it has some strong vibes coming into season 2. So I think people are going to be a little bit more interested than not. And I think a lot of people just didn't know what Andor was, but then when they saw that, oh, this is actually really good storytelling, you know, maybe it doesn't fit within the Star Wars franchise like a lot of people feel, but nevertheless, it's good storytelling, and that is all we are looking for right now. There are so many series that are falling off the face of the map because they just can't tell a good, compelling story, and that's what Tony Gilroy gave us with Andor. So I'm thinking if they can, you know, get Andor across the finish line with season 2, they promote it well, they sell it, people love it. You know, if the Skeleton Crew is just passable and they got rid of Acolyte, and now, you know, Kathleen, maybe crossing our fingers, hopefully she's not coming back. You have a lot of positivity heading into Mando and Grogu and all these other films that they're trying to do. So that's my hope. I think that they can get the job done if they start clearing the deck, getting all of this gunk out of Star Wars and start bringing back good storytellers, guys like Tony Gilroy, all right, who know the franchise, or not know the franchise, but they know storytelling. You know, he doesn't really know the franchise, but he knows storytelling. All right. Now you start allowing this guy to tell stories. All right. Tell the stories that fans want to hear. You know, I think KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, is the next thing that they need to figure out how we're going to adapt that. If they can adapt that and do a good job with that, I think we got some action. I think we got some serious action with Star Wars, and we're starting to get off of that bottom of that ocean floor, and we're starting to move in a positive direction.
May I digress with a different point of view? If they were smart, but I say something in
they're
jest.
Obviously not.
If you came in from a galaxy far away and looked at this whole situation, and you looked at the entire cast of characters from both in front and behind the cameras at Disney, at Lucas, at Marvel, you know what you would learn? the worst people, the ones who make the biggest mistakes, are the ones who don't know when to shut the hell up.
Yeah.
What Disney should be doing is indeed developing something entirely new, and don't say a damn word about it. Don't promote it. Don't advertise it. Don't speculate. Just keep it under your hat and let the furor and the crap filter out and die down and go away. And then one day, out of the blue, hey, guess what? In a different galaxy, not that far away, there was this. And absolutely knock it out of the park with a whole new thing. Because every time you try and pick up where you left off, and every time you hearken back to, no matter what's good, I haven't seen Andor. If it's great, swell. But it's still connected with all the crap in between that and the original movies. And so you want something free of canon, free of references, just in the same general milieu with some great storytelling by people who don't work for them now, who haven't worked for them officially, who haven't got a rep plus or minus, and just clear the slate, be quiet, hunker down, give it a year or two for all this stuff to go away, and then start over. Do they have the patience? Do they have the patience for that? No. Do they have the feeling that they have to do something for the stock or for other reasons? Probably. Do they still think this magical super hit for Kathy to go out on will happen? Probably. And therefore, what I'm saying will not happen. But if I were king and they asked me, that's what they should do.
I'm going to push back on you, Lou.
Okay.
What you're saying is what the creators want. What you're saying is that they don't want to be connected to anything. They don't want to be fettered by what went before. They want to put their personal stamp on the story, and that's exactly what Disney has been doing.
Well, but I'm not even saying any of these creators should be involved.
Hold on. I got more.
Okay.
What the fans want is Star Wars and what the Star Wars feel is. And that's something that Disney doesn't understand. It's why they're failing. Why Andor does have the possibility to do that is something that I think a lot of people have missed about Andor. I see people in the comments that are saying that Andor is not Star Wars and everybody knows he dies, so why does it matter? There's a subplot that's going through Andor that's just under the radar, and it's going to detonate in season 2. It does tie into past EU events, and it has to do with the ultimate formation of the rebellion. That's the point of Andor. It's not Andor. It's the event that causes Mon Mothma to leave the Senate and announce the formation of her opposition to the Emperor. And with that event, they're also going to be able to bring in, you're going to get a little more fan service. There's going to be some cameos that show up. But it has the possibility to be a springboard back into what made Star Wars Star Wars. And that's what they need. They need something that actually has that feel, that hews to those themes. And the people that have been involved don't care about any of that.
Well, that speaks to a different problem that they have at Lucasfilm and Disney in general. Of every show needs to be the name of the main character, it needs to be the name of the brand, semicolon, colon, whatever, and then the exact character, because they stink at naming things too.
Yeah, their naming scheme sucks.
Right now, I think it just needs to go quiet for a while. I think they need to stop and reset and figure out this obviously isn't working, and they need to ask themselves why. You can appeal to hardcore fans and a casual audience. I don't think those two are mutually exclusive, and I think there's a lot of thinking that that's not true. It's a lot of times it's the hardcore fans that bring in the casual audience because the casual audience trusts the hardcore fans to tell you whether or not something is good. So I think the best thing that they could do right now is just go away and be quiet and sit and think about what you've done. Short of that,
put them in the corner, Lauren. Put them in the corner.
I'm out. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they need.
So I know that Marvin had a thought about perhaps one possible way to bring back the franchise. Marvin, do you want to expound on that?
Sure, yeah. I think that the problem that Star Wars and modern Lucasfilm is kind of running into right now is the same problem Disney's running into with their parks division. Instead of developing new ground, they're paving over the same areas over and over and over again. How many properties can we have that take place between episodes 3 and 4? How many properties can we have that takes place between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens? You're always running into something. There's always a block that's going to stop you from going forward. I think the only way forward for Star Wars is forward. I think you got to go 500 years into the future, where the only character that we know that's still alive is Grogu, and he's the head of a new Jedi Order, and you have a whole new galaxy to play with. And look at what Star Trek did. Every time Star Trek went forward, it went forward, not counting Kirkman Trek. But, you have to go forward. You have to start new. You have to get back to basics. And that's the problem. You're never gonna move forward if you keep retreading the same tired 2 different time periods. It's never going to happen.
That's so perfect. And it speaks to something that Chris Gore says over and over again. It used to be that Star Wars was about something, and now Star Wars is about Star Wars. And that is the most boring thing for Star Wars to do.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
There's no guarantee that any franchise runs forever. It's had a good run. Time to do something else.
Yeah, look what's going on with Marvel.
The only franchise I know that's ever run forever is the Bible. Okay?
There you go.
Yeah.
And for good
no
reason.
disagreements
It's not
here.
irrelevant yet.
I hear they're not making many more new books on that one, though.
Oh, get out of here, Jonas. Get those super chats up on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of another video of pure excellence. And of course, as always, it is excellent because of you. Truly, folks, we appreciate your time and attitude of gratitude every time you elect to click on one of these videos. If you're interested in even more content, you can check out that join button that will make you a member of the channel and gain you access to all kinds of exclusive content behind the scenes right here with Pro and my pals. We would love to have you join that club. Folks, until we meet again, drop a like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, hit the notification bell, and then keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.